Welcome to Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, the movie that single-handedly shaped pirate music. So before we get into the movie, I'm gonna give you a quick breakdown because this movie is long as fuck and has a lot of information. Characters: Captain Jacker Spaniel. Always has rum and is a raging alcoholic. He has a pistol with 1 round, betrayed by his first mate 10 years ago. Fuck Amber Heard. And he used to be captain of the Black Pearl. Barboa Barbosa. He was Captain Jack Sparrow's first mate, so you can connect the dots. He is currently the captain of the Black Pearl. He is cursed, and so is his crew. William Turner, son of Bill Turner. He is needed for the curse. He loves Liz Swan, and he is a common bitch. Doesn't really do a whole lot. Kind of a pushover. Elizabeth Swan is not a bitch. Sort of secretly loves Will. Not so secretly, though. Governor's kid, super annoying. Corridor Nummington, however the fuck you say his name. He is pretty unimportant and constantly gets clowned in the movie. All you really need to know about Commodore is he wants to marry the Elizabeth Swan, and he is in the Navy. The other thing worth mentioning is the Black Pearl itself is the fastest pirate ship in the movie, a cursed ship, and it also has the best name. The crew is also cursed that is on it. The curse is from Aztec gold that was stolen from some dickheads, and whoever does the stealing of the Aztec gold is then cursed into an undying corpse under the moonlight. They can undo this curse, however, if they decide to return every single piece back to its original chest and then do a hoo-la-la ritual and sacrifice some blood onto the gold. But the blood on the gold has to be very specific. Yeah, so that's the rundown, and let's get into the movie. So we start off with Miss Swan as a young pup. She's traveling with Commodore and her dad when she comes across a shipwreck and finds young William Turner overboard. She finds his chain and snatches that shit up. 8 years later, she has a dream about when she stole the chain, so she decides of all days is the day to wear it. That is truly fascinating. Then her dad comes in the room and wants her to wear a dress for the Commodore's promotion ceremony. We move downstairs to where we now meet grown Will, and he has brought a gift for the dad. William is a blacksmith, and he has made this sick-ass sword that is all around balanced, and it's cool and shit, and he's showing it off to Swan's dad, like, look at me. Will and Swan have a short combo that goes something like this. I had a short dream about the day I found you. Do you remember? I would never forget, Miss Swan. I told you to call me Elizabeth, you bitch. Grow some balls. Cut to our boy, Captain Jack Sparrow, gracefully coming into the port on his sinking ship. He snags up some gold that was just left out in the opening, and he then tries to Uno reverse these 2 retarded guards and steals the fastest ship in the port. Sparrow's secret power in this film is the power of bullshit, and bullshit alone takes him to places you would not think reachable. Bullshit alone gets him so far in dealing with these 2 idiots that they are more concerned fighting with each other. Jack then sneaks onto the ship and is confronted by the idiots, but then any man's biggest dream happens. It starts raining women. While all that is going on, Elizabeth Swan was attending the Douche for Brains promotion and was given a wonderful pep talk about how he needs a nice woman to come home to, and he somehow didn't notice Swan literally couldn't breathe. I can't breathe. I know, I'm so nervous. So she ends up passing out over the ledge, and in this case, if you already weren't feeling the best, why would you get that close to the ledge in the first place? I also want to point out the fact once she did fall, he was like, I'm going in after her. And then the guy was like, the rocks. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Also, I don't know how old Commodore was at the beginning of the movie, but she was actually like 12 years old. And now he wants to marry her. Like, bro watched this girl grow up. That is concerning in itself, but whatever. Jack sees her hit the water and decides to save her. But while swimming out to her unconscious body, her fancy schmancy necklace emits a pulse that changes the wind and brings a storm. Mr. Commodore tells Jack, but then she goes, but he saved me. And then Jack goes, no, you're gonna save me. He then uses her to get away and activate his ultimate ability, bullshit, to escape, and ends up running into a blacksmith shop. The owner is blackout shit-faced, so Jack very, very thoroughly confirms that he is asleep by yelling right in his face. Whoa! Jack then frees himself from his cuffs, but then is rudely interrupted by William, and they have a whole fight because he caught wind that he had threatened his beloved Miss Swan. But before either can secure the kill, old drunk blacksmith steals Will's kill, or arrest in this case. He steals the glory. The royal weenies bust in and take Sparrow away, throwing him in jail and making him await his trial. The Black Pearl later arrives in town and lays down the law with and other hoopla. All the pirates land on the shore and start doing pirate shit, laying waste to everything, looking for pirates' gold owned by Swan.
Peekaboo, you want some fun?
They are about to pop her ass, but she calls for honey, which is French code for take me to your captain and do not hurt me. While they are escorting her to the ship, Will sees her and tries to intervene, but ends up getting knocked the fuck out. A few of the other pirates end up finding Sparrow locked up and mock him, and then he mocks them back, and it turns into a mocking battle until one of the pirates grabs Sparrow, revealing under the moonlight that the curse is real. They then jump back to the Black Pearl, where we have Swan, Captain Barbosa, trying to negotiate a deal deal to make him leave and never come back. She says that he can have the golden necklace under these circumstances, but he tries to play it off like he doesn't really care. But in reality, he is looking for the gold that she has. She decided it was a good idea to tell the pirates her last name was not Swan, and instead
Turner.
the new information, he now believes that she is the long-lost child of their ex-crewmate, Billiam Turner, that they need for the blood ritual, and that will break the curse. But we already know that she is not a Turner. They actually need Will instead. Barbossa takes the gold, hits her with the peace sign, and dips.
Welcome aboard the Black Pearl, Miss Turner.
So cut to the morning, and we have Will waking up bright and early and then heading straight to Commodore so he can throw a tantrum and destroy a map because they are not acting fast enough to save his oh-so-sweet Elizabeth Swan. So Will goes to Jack instead to see what he knows about the Black Pearl. But when Jack hears Will's last name, he figures out that he is Billiam Turner's son, and now he can use him to his advantage. Jack convinces Will he will help, so he ends up breaking him out of the slammer. They can go and commandeer a boat that is slightly offshore, and here we see Jack using his ultimate ability in full effect. The amount of bullshit oozing from Jack's tactics are unreal, but I am here for it. So while underwater in this boat, they somehow do not get lost, and they make their way to the ship and scare off the crew, giving them the opportunity to steal the ship. By doing this, they signal for the Navy to arrest them using the fastest ship, the Interceptor. But they do it in just about the worst way possible by sending the entire crew to board Jack's ship, leaving no one on the Interceptor. Jack and Will then take full advantage of their stupidity and steal the ship right under them and leave them in the dust because now they have the fastest fucking boat. They also fucked with the steering in their original boat, so they can't even be chased. So Jack and Will are off to Pirates Cove, which is also known as Tortuga, in search of a new crew. And while they are on this, Jack tells Will about his dad and how he was a pirate and not just a pussy like how Will is growing up to be. Will gets all pissed off and doesn't believe him and says that Jack is lying. Will gets smacked by whatever this part of the ship is and dangled over the ocean while Jack tells him to grow up and accept reality. Will decides to listen like the good little boy he is and accepts his fate. Then moving to Tortuga, we meet Jack's old trusty dusty crewmate, Mr. Gibbs. Jack explains his mad idea about how he is going to reclaim the Black Pearl, using Will as a bargaining chip because Barbossa needs him. So Jack proceeds to round up a crew of people, and honestly, I don't know if I could even call these people pirates. Once on board, they sail through a storm using a compass that only points to whatever he desires, I think. I don't know what the fuck this thing even points to, but it points to something for Jack. And I think it's his greatest desires, or it's just fucking north. I don't know. Back to the Black Pearl, we see Swan eating with Captain Barbossa. He is staring deeply at her because he is jealous he can't enjoy food anymore because
Food turned to ash in our mouths.
he then explains the whole curse and about how he needs her blood to break it. But Swan isn't having any of that, and she just stabs him. But obviously he can't die, so
He's just standing there, menacingly.
she then runs away in fear just to run out onto the deck and see a circus of cursed pirates that all go fucking spooky on her, and then she just runs back into the cabin to hide away. We cut back to Jack and his crew arriving shortly behind Barbossa. They all enter the cave where the yummy treasures are. Barbossa is giving his speech, and Jack and Will slowly sneak in using the element of surprise. Jack has his ultimate ability already charged up, and he's getting ready to use it, but right before he can use it, Will bonks the fuck out of him before he can even be taken advantage of. Barbossa puts a small cut on Swan's hand so he can drop some blood onto the gold because she's supposed to be the chosen child. She asks,
That's it?
Barbossa uses his science to check by shooting one of the crewmates directly in the heart. He gets mad at her because he doesn't die, so meaning she's lying and the curse is not broken. He's like, where the fuck is this kid? Smacks the shit out of her, sending her rolling away with the coin. The same coin that they have been so desperately trying to find this entire film. He just lets loose, like he didn't even care about it. She then, after all that happens, you cut to Will swimming up to her and taking her back to the ship while everybody else is freaking out. Once Will gets her back to the ship, he adheres to the pirate code. So after Barbecue realizes that Swan is gone with the golden coin, they now go running around looking, only to stumble across Jack, which does surprise them, and they do want to kill him, but they know that he knows whose blood they actually need. So they end up taking him back to the Black Pearl to fight over the ship and the gold. They catch up to the Interceptor because the Pearl is actually the fastest ship in the movie, and it's fast as fuck. They even pull out a paddle for a little extra pep in their step. You know, they're putting that fucking shit in overdrive. I can't help but imagine how fast they would be moving as well if they didn't have have a million fucking holes in the sails, but at this point, it doesn't really matter. It's a ghost ship. Flash over to the Interceptor. Orlando Coombe is fixing Swan's little paper cut on her hand. She stops him and shows the medallion, which pisses him off because it's confirmation that his dad is really a pirate and the whole situation is real. It all kind of clicks for him. You know, this shit isn't a fucking fairy tale. And all while that's happening, they see the pearl is actually gaining on them. And despite throwing shit overboard to try to get away, they drop anchor and pull the fucking handbrake on the boat, swing around, face the pearl head on, and start blasting at each other. Long story short, though, they get clapped. Barbosa gets the coin back. They leave. They all get tied up very loosely, though. Will somehow escapes a ship that is rigged to blow while being trapped underneath the water. He gets out, then shows himself to Barbosa, threatens to shoot himself, to then drop into the ocean, and the only way he won't shoot himself is if he lets their crew go free. Barbosa agrees, but he didn't really agree on any terms. So Barbosa, being the dick he is, he throws Swan and Jack overboard right next to an island randomly out in the ocean. Jack dives in after his pistol and his sword once it is thrown overboard. Once they swim over to the island, Jack tells her that his last time he escaped wasn't actually luck at all, because it was actually because of a bunch of rum runners that used this island as a storage facility. He spent 3 days drunk on this island until they showed up and gave him safe passage. She decides to help him drink himself to sleep so that she can burn everything, like legitimately everything. Jack wakes up. Why is the rum gone?
That signal is over 1,000 feet high. The entire Royal Navy is out looking for me.
Why is the rum gone?
Like, seriously though, at the same time, after saying all that, like, there is such a gigantic chance that they won't see it. Like, the ocean is freakishly large, but because it's a movie, they actually do end up finding her, and she is then reunited with her father. She begs George Washington to go and save Will as a wedding gift, and he actually agrees to that. That is probably the most cuckish shit I've ever heard. So jump to the pearl, and it shows the crew telling the story of
Oh, Bootstrap Bill.
Long story short, Bill sends his coin over to his son Will. Barbosa got mad at him and strapped him to a cannon and pushed him off into the sea, making him lost forever, only to then be found that they needed his blood to then break the curse, igniting this entire fucking fiasco of needing to try to find his son's blood because blah, 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 blah. You can put it together. So that's the situation. Both parties have arrived at Isla de Muerta. Barbosa inside. George Washington is outside with Jack. Jack tries to convince him to let him go in and talk to Barbosa and convince him to come out so that the British boys can kill him. Once he actually gets in there, he convinces Barbosa to let his crew out and start fighting and then break the curse after they already kill the British so that they can, you know, get a guaranteed win to the fight. Barbosa actually agrees and he sends his men out by foot, not boat, literally by foot. They're walking across the ocean floor and they start climbing up the boat and wrecking havoc on the British ship. Somehow, the rest of the Brits outside the ship didn't hear the gunshot or battles going on in the boat or the stupid little decoy that they fucking rode out and then they blasted a shot directly at him. Like, honestly, someone fucking explain that to me. But Swan, all at the same time, who is locked in the captain's quarters, escapes using a makeshift rope. She wheels herself down onto a boat and rows to the pearl. This entire, like, there's so many different little things going on. And it's fucking, first off, where did Elizabeth get this boat that she just, like, this is the backside of the boat. Why is there just a little escape boat on the backside of the boat? I thought those sit on the side of the boat. If they even have lifeboats, if they even have, whatever. Once Elizabeth frees Jack's crew and they take control of the ship, she then asks them if she will help save Will. And they say no, because they will be sticking to the pirate's code. They say, fuck all that. Sorry, Jack. Sorry, Will. They're on their own. So Elizabeth takes it upon herself and says, fuck all that. And she goes and tries to save them. So she goes alone to get the boys. We cut to Jack and Barbosa fighting, where he gets stabbed and we find out that he actually cursed himself on purpose, which is just insane. He did it in case something like this actually happened. Pocketed a coin when he was talking to Barbosa, trying to convince him to send out his men. They continue fighting and Lizzie even gets involved, bonking some motherfuckers. Everything is getting very chaotic and Barbosa pulls a gun on Lizzie and we hear one gunshot, but it's not from him. It's from Jack that actually shoots Barbosa right in his dead heart. He's like, congrats, moron. You just wasted your one shot. But he didn't, because mid-fight, Jack bled on his coin and threw it to Will, who also bled on the coin, dropping it in the chest, breaking the curse. So with the curse being broken, his heart starts fucking leaking. And the rest of the crew outside lost all their fucking cheat codes, and now they're all mortal, making them lose to the British. Everyone goes home, and Jack has to go hang. But while he's getting hung, Will finally confesses his love to Liz, and they go on this mission impossible, trying trying to save Jack, and they actually get pretty far. But while being held at knife point, Lizzie has to step in, sides with Jack and Will, making them kind of back up a little bit. Jack falls off the cliff at the same time, at the same spot Lizzie fell off at the beginning of the film. He falls into the ocean. Coming up, he then gets reunited with his homies and the ship. End of the film. Fantastic. Beautiful. On to the next 6 movies ahead of it. I would give this movie a solid whopping 7 orcas out of 2 cosmic worms. The worms from Adventure Time. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Mwah.
Bend down. Where you from?